The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent along with Addie Rich.
That's me.
Who's sitting on her porch today.
I'm sitting on my porch. I am sucking up all the vitamin D.
In the Atlanta area. We got to let you know that because if anybody's been watching the news, it's been a cold winter back that direction.
It's been really cold, so now it's warm today. I'm going outside.
Yeah.
I made Tito bring all my stuff and set up tables.
Very nice. Well, you know, we got a plot twist this morning.
Yes.
Actually, last
you
night.
talked about my plot twist last week, so the universe was like, ha-ha,
let's show you all about it. Yeah, so I got an email last night, and our guest for today, unfortunately, says she's not going to be able to make it. And I think it might have been a medical thing. I don't know. She just said, because I asked her first, you know, maybe you could push it back a little bit. And she said, well, maybe I can make it 9 or 10, which would be her time because she's in Australia. So then that would make it. Yeah. So 9 or 10 would be like 2 to 3 for me and 6 or something for you, right? So
yeah.
And then I'd already come up with an idea if she couldn't make it. So I just told her, no, that's fine. Take care of yourself. And we'll reschedule down the line. It'll be a good interview, but yeah, we'll make sure she's fine before we do that. So, real quick, let me just tell you what we're all about. We are a podcast dedicated to giving a voice to the disability community. We do that by having those with a disability on to tell their stories and the organizations that provide programs, services, and all of those things to our community so they can share what they do. I'm a polio survivor for going on 68, 69 years now. Forever.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, dirt was clean, by the way. That's how old I am. Good morning. Crutch and brace user for about 50 years or so, and then transitioned into a wheelchair user over the last 20 years. And you?
I have cerebral palsy, and I use a walker when I'm out and about, transitioning more to a wheelchair, but generally trying to fight it. Until now I'm this age, you know what, like we've always talked about, now being this age, I appreciate the help.
Yeah.
When you're young, your vanity or whatever stops you, but now I'm like, forget it, I need a seat.
And we'll probably talk a little bit about that with our fix for the twist today. Some of those things, because you're not abnormal, at all. People fight those things. They don't want to give up the keys to the car as they age. Yeah. All of those things, and it just it's an inner struggle. You lose independence. You learn you lose so much if you feel like if you change, and I like to kind of concentrate on the gains that you get sometimes with the aids that you can use and all that. So yeah, we'll probably touch on those things. How was your week? Anything exciting?
No, obviously the weather's warming up,
that's
so that's
big
exciting.
News. Yeah.
I call that exciting.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, it did unexpectedly. I didn't realize, I didn't see a forecast, but I just kind of figured this time of year it's going to be chilly, but it was, I think I saw 79 yesterday, actually, which kind of shocked me.
That is crazy. And I know I saw something this morning, I think on my phone, that said near record, and I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right now, but I'll take it.
For your area, yeah?
Yeah. Like typically where this is the chilly time.
Recording in progress.
Snow and stuff. This is when,
Yeah, especially coming off of the cold that you've had.
Yeah. Because we've had 2 snows, and typically it's like 1 snow, 1 fake out, and then, it takes a while to get to fall. So for the fact that we got like 4 inches plus both times was crazy.
And is this, could it come back again? Right.
Yeah.
This time of year. Definitely. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's not gone. Yeah. It's not gone. It's just playing peekaboo for the moment. Yeah. So like you say, it's kind of like, I don't know what to wear till I go to let the dogs out, and it's either like raining or I'm freezing, or you know what I mean? Like they're my temperature gauge at about 6 a.m. when I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah. Hot and cold look a lot alike when you're looking out the window.
For sure. And then you open the slider and you get a blast of whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
How was your week?
It was good. Kind of just typical stuff, but we went to the monthly Inland Empire Disability Collaborative, which is always great. It's all the organizations that serve the community come together and just chat about whatever. They have a speaker, for 20 minutes of it or so. It's probably
nice.
2-hour meeting. Everybody gets to introduce themselves. Then they have the meeting, they make announcements, and then at the end they can make any kind of announcements about upcoming events or talk a little bit more in depth about, what their organization does, that kind of thing. This week it was a gal that was talking about conservatorships. So that was interesting. And so I collected a bunch of cards and talked to a few people, and hopefully we've got some more interviews coming up on different topics, which is something we want to do this year, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do more of that. In conversations, I don't know if I mentioned this, Brian Bushway from a few weeks ago, been in conversations with him about collaborating on some topics as well. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Yes, got some great conversations so far. I do have an update on the smart drive. I think it was since the show last week. The provider contacted me, and the new dial controller is ready, and they're going to install it later this week. So
we need to insert some claps there or something, a little yay!
You know what? Hang on one second. No, nobody move. Here we go.
There we go.
And the crowd goes wild. Very nice. Which is much better than this.
Which is what it was for a while.
It was a big herd of them, absolutely. Oh, man. So thank you. Even though he wasn't here, we used this interview from last year, but thank you to Lou Schomer, who was our guest last week in our reprieve of his interview last year for the Abilities Expo. And, like I say, probably most of the stuff he talked about is going to be there again this year, and they always add new things. So if you get a chance, check it out. What's the status of your airline tickets to come out and join us?
Ooh, it's expensive. We need to talk to somebody because I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
I would love to come. I hinted at maybe driving out.
Road trip.
So I'm still working on it. But definitely we know for the following year, like get the ticket early if it tends to be the same time.
Maybe we need a sponsor. If there's anybody who would like to sponsor your trip out here.
Right?
If
anybody would like to see me in person.
Yeah. Well, maybe a medical provider that would sponsor your trip and get some.
There we go.
Get some exposure.
You can write it off as a business expense.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put that under the line item, advertising, whatever. We'll do our part, right? So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share wherever you're listening. We appreciate that. Trying to grow the community. And coming up today, what we thought we would do with the guests not being able to make it today, that we would
what Doug thought we would do. This is a surprise for me.
We'll see what the outcome is before you take any ownership at all. Yeah, I just thought we would ask a bunch of random questions, of ourselves and just see what comes up. Could be a hot mess. It could be fun, but
hot messes are fun.
And hot messes can definitely be fun.
As long as no one's hurt, hot messes are fine.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there hoping this goes off the rails just for the entertainment factor, right?
Right.
Oh, man. Okay, so we'll be back to do that right after we hear from Ugyar Professional Training.
At Ugyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Ugyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Ugyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
We're not your sympathy, we're here to take our place. We're carving paths, we're building dreams, we're running life's great race. Don't raise us up on fragile words or call us brave for just being. We want a world that's fair and true, not bound by what you see. Don't set us apart, don't hold us back. We're here to shine, to stay on track. Judge us by effort, heart, and skill, not by your pity or goodwill. We walk and roll, we climb, we fight, we light our way, we claim our right. Not your heroes, just living bold. Fair and free, that's our goal.
Welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. Well, let's start by kind of getting you up to date here. We had a guest, didn't have a guest, and Doug came up with an idea to ask some questions about our experiences with disabilities.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see how this goes. It could go fabulously. It could crash and burn, which it's up to you, which would be more entertaining.
Right. I'm having flashes because yesterday Tito was watching on YouTube the dating game, the old dating game.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're about to do something. It's a hot seat game.
Yeah.
Amazingly, one of the girls was from San Luis Obispo. Like, what are the chances? It was in 1984. And I was like,
1984. Wow.
Yeah, and she was like, I live in a little town called San Luis Obispo. I was like, what?
What? I was still there in 1984.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, she could have been your date, Doug.
Yeah, just getting ready to leave there. Okay, you ready for number one?
I'm ready for number one.
All right, this one is titled Wheelchair Life Hacks. So, clever tricks and tips that make the life on wheelchairs easier. I don't know,
Goodness.
what your take on that is. You're a newbie.
Well, I'm a newbie, but I mean, when I had my back surgery and I couldn't walk, I was in a chair for like a year.
Yeah.
On and off, and then got out of the chair. Hacks. Let me think about this. Well, I don't know. You give your hack first while I can contemplate a hack.
This just brings up a story. Because I've done this before, but not in the fashion that I saw this gentleman do it. So I'll share what I do, and then I'll tell you what I saw him do. Okay. If you have something small that you have to carry, and it's when a manual chair, if you've got something you've got to carry, you still have to push the wheelchair, so.
Exactly.
Flat ground, it's kind of, that's the nice thing about a nice wheelchair on a smooth surface, flat ground. It's like glass and it'll just glide, you give it one push, it goes. But, if there's any kind of hill whatsoever, and for, just for those who are not a wheelchair user, you would be shocked at how much a floor that you think is flat undulates. There are high spots and low spots. You think you can just take your hands off the wheel and pick something up off the counter. And before you get your hand up there, you've rolled away because there's that much of an incline on the floor. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of tuck it under my shirt. Okay. It'll fit. And I've got quite a few things in there. And that's very helpful. And I forget it a lot of times, and I'm struggling along.
Forget the thing?
No, I don't forget. Yeah, that would be funny. Yes, that would be funny. Going around with this thing in my shirt for half the day.
What is this? Oh, it's a
what did I do with that?
It's a quesadilla for later.
Man. And that would be so much like me. You know how many things I've lost in my house that, I'll find a year later sometimes. It's like, and I know it's here. I didn't take it with me, and I've looked everywhere it possibly could be based on what it is. And then I've looked everywhere else. Just
everywhere
because it couldn't be, just because I've exhausted everything where it should be, and then I find it at some random place and I need to turn up sooner or later. But anyway, we were at the races one time, a little local short track here, and this guy's in a wheelchair and he takes off and goes out, and I guess he's going to the concession stand. So, and he comes back, and sure enough, I look over and. To this day, I feel like I couldn't possibly have seen what I saw. So he's got a button-up shirt.
Okay.
So he arrives back, and I think he had some hot dogs and things like that. So he's handing out to his family, and then he unbuttons his shirt a little bit, and pulls a drink out of there in your basic cup with a lid on it, plastic lid, and a straw coming out of it. And these were big. They weren't like a 16 ouncer. These were at least 32.
He's like a good balancer, man. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they were upright. I mean, it looked like they were sideways in there. But even if they were upright, can you imagine if the lid popped off one of those?
No, seriously, I would be wearing it. That's what the only hack I was thinking is that like Stanley cups and everything with a lid is your friend, because I always just put stuff between my knees. Well, screw the top on and then put it between my knees, because you need two hands.
Right.
Because if you use one hand, you'll go in a circle.
Yep.
And I mean, even when I'm walking around, like almost all my mugs and cups and everything have a lid for like freak gravity checks that I need to just let it go.
Yes. And a drink holder is essential,
Yes.
If you don't have one yet, get one of those. Any other wheelchair hacks you could think of? Probably the biggest one for me. Yeah. I mean, it's not so much really a hack, but it was just one of those things where, I talk about going through the transition. Well, for a long time, I had a little SUV and I would put the wheelchair in the back. So, and for a long time, and I'm talking probably a couple, 3 years, the longest I would walk is from, I had a wheelchair for the house. So I would go out to the garage.
You're just switching back and forth.
And I'd get up and I'd walk to and then I had another wheelchair in the car. So I'd get up and I'd walk to the car and drive away, wherever I got. Then the longest I would walk was from that door, my driver's door, back to the back and get the wheelchair out and go from there. And then same thing when I got home is I'd walk back into the wheelchair in the garage and then go into the house and all that. And so, but, and I put that off as long as I possibly could. And finally, getting close to 3 years now, I got a van with a ramp and all that. So, that just changed my life in magical ways.
Right. No, it's so different, right, than having to heave ho with one arm. Chair.
And it had gotten to the point where, I would think about, errands that I had to run, and I had to get myself psyched up in my mind, just to do one, let alone, I mean, how it is. You go out, you do 2, 3, 4 errands, and, so now I can just do that. And on top of that, randomly, I can just be, out somewhere and then on the way home and think, oh, I'm going to stop by Home Depot, or I'm going to stop by somewhere and just, which I would have never done before. It would have just been too much trouble.
Spontaneity is not a thing when you like really have to plan it. Plus, I challenge anybody to like lift a wheelchair, one arm to put it behind you, or like, you know what I mean? People don't realize the agility that takes of your upper body to like maneuver yourself when your lower body is saying no, thank you.
Yeah. And that's,
if anybody's ever had to lift anybody who's a dead weight, you understand better. But even still. Oh, another hack, but I think it's a girl hack, because I mean, having a big purse is like the best thing in the universe for those of us, because I'll like literally put my cup in there, put my this and that, my book, whatever. Any junk that I think I need from now until Sunday is probably in my purse.
I
guess you can get a purse.
My equivalent of a purse is a backpack, and I've done that since junior high.
Yeah.
I tell people I invented backpacks. At school, because when I got them, there were no backpacks. You didn't go to a store. You didn't see a store that had. Oh yeah. Today you'll see stores that's all they are, backpacks sometimes.
Backpacks,
And so the only backpack you could find back when I was a kid was at the department store this department store we had where I grew up in Santa Barbara. We had a store that had a section for scouting. So you'd go there and
like a camping backpack.
Like a camping backpack, which wasn't even a zipper or anything. It was like a flap that you would fold over, and then you would tie a bow in it to close the backpack. So that's what I walked around when all the other kids were holding their books. I had a backpack.
It's just not possible. Now that you say backpack too, I think I could be wrong, but JanSport, I think they now make wheelchair backpacks, like nice ones. I was looking because I was going to get one to go on the front of my walker, and now they make them that are wider and like make more sense. Like you can get the strap to the two edges, because that was always the problem with like a regular backpack is the width of your back is not the width of a wheelchair. So you're like stretching the heck out.
The other thing, like for me, I just got a new backpack. It was JanSport, as a matter of fact, but I got a smaller one because the regular size that I've used, and I probably had it for close on 40 years, but it hangs down on
Oh,
my
too
smart drive in the back.
Oh,
Yes.
and we already know smart drive ain't so smart all by itself.
Yeah, it's got issues. But so it's hard to get to the smart drive if I need to. And
Gotcha.
and it sometimes will kind of interfere with the smart drive a little bit. So I got a smaller one, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. I'll see if we can find the link and then we can put it up.
So let's see. What's next on our list? We have awkward accessibility fails. The worst or funniest ramps, doors, or elevators you've ever encountered. Got any that leap out at you?
You hear that plane? Awkward accessibility fails. I mean, honestly, like my sister and I went to New York when she turned 30, and New York was accessibility fails, like big time, because
really?
with the subway, like only certain stations have the elevator. So it's not every, like not you, but people could run down the stairs and go to that stop and hop the train. Well, if you need a wheelchair, it might be 2 blocks over on the other side of the street to go get it. And that's like mind bending for me because
hey, you'd think they would have caught up a little bit more by now.
Yeah. I mean, their public transportation is awesome unless you're in a chair.
So once you get down the elevator and get to the subway, that's accessible. They've got that pretty much covered.
That's accessible, but then like you might be off of where you're trying to actually go because you have to go back a few blocks to get to where you need to get off or on.
Yeah.
Vice versa, right? So it's actually like, why wouldn't you make it a shorter distance instead of a longer distance? Plus another one too, I remember because you've talked about that you can get Ubers and Lyfts that are accessible.
Well,
where you are,
you can request them whether they show up or not.
Right. And here, even in Atlanta, we're so big and I can't get one. Like you end up having to get a taxi where like when we went to the Santa Barbara airport, we just got a taxi because we couldn't be guaranteed that the Uber that would show up could fit everything.
Gotcha. And what was the taxi? What kind of car was it?
It was a van. It was a van.
Yeah.
I mean, like we could literally walk out of the airport and see a van and say, hey, we need you specifically because we need all the stuff. And then I took the guy's number to have it for future because I know he has a van now.
Yep. Well, good luck with that. Because,
what about you?
And I say that because when I think this is, pre-Addie, but we went on a cruise, me and my family.
I was going to say the cruise.
Yeah, we went to Miami. So, the ship left for Miami. So had to fly in, stay the night in a hotel, then get up and go. And so there was a number of trips. And it went better than I thought. We got to the airport, we got off, and there was a gal kind of directing traffic. I don't know if she was with the airport or with the police assigned at the airport or whatever she was. So we said she gets on a radio and calls a taxi, and it's me and my brother, so we need 2. And they showed up in a relatively short time. I was surprised. Nice. And, so we got to the hotel, and then the next morning, hotel to the ship, and we found, and then the same thing when we got back from the ship, back from the cruise to get back to the hotel before we stayed. Well, so those first 3 trips went relatively well. But every one of those guys was just so insistent. Take my card. If you ever need it, take your card. Take it. Okay. So we get up and to catch the flight on the way back. And we start calling those numbers. Nobody answered those numbers. All 3 of them. Nobody answered those numbers. And then we, just started looking in the yellow pages and calling. The clerk at the hotel was very helpful. Either there was no answer or there was nobody driving at that time of morning. I mean, we were at 4 or something in the morning, to catch an early flight. Cool. And the security guy standing outside, he calls his buddy, I guess, really a language barrier. And just a little quick sidebar. In Miami, I was very prepared for it to be a lot of Hispanic speakers there. But I was not prepared for them not to know any English at all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm saying when you say hi to them, they look at you like they don't understand hi.
Yeah.
I mean, really? But anyway. So he calls his buddy.
Yeah.
And he shows up in a full, presidential motorcade type black SUV.
Yeah, the XL.
And I'm like, no, we're not getting in that. So it's getting close. Time's a ticking. We got to get to the airport and get on and do all that. And we're going to have to go through stuff at the airport. So I just said, we got to call Uber. So I go through Uber, and you have your selection sedan. I select sedan, not an SUV, sedan. What shows up? An SUV, of course. And that's where it got funny. It's because I'm trying to transfer from my wheelchair into the back seat, and I'm getting just about high enough, but I can't get my cheek on the seat. And my brother's holding my wheelchair, and of course we can't speak with the driver because he speaks no English. And so the funny thing came with, because my brother started to go, I was telling my brother, I need somebody to go around the other side and pull me up that last half inch,
Yeah.
So my brother, he stands up and mimes the whole thing to the driver. He's like, walk, go around, open the other door. He's miming all this out. Open the door, mimes pulling me in. And the guy gets it, runs around the other side. My brother's pushing, I'm lifting myself. The guy's pulling on me. Finally get myself on the seat, and we get there. But, it's a comedy of errors.
It's like the clown car.
Exactly. And one other thing, just people don't think things through. You get on a sidewalk. There's a ramp at one end of the sidewalk going down the street.
Yeah.
And you go for like a half a block. Okay, here's another driveway, but they didn't put a ramp at that end. So you got to go all the way back or jump off the curb, which I've done that before too. So,
right. So question, I'm being nosy. Since you guys went on a cruise, how was the cruise in a chair though? Were like the things wide enough and
they
accessible?
did a really good job.
I've never done a cruise.
Yeah, and I was that was probably one of the most apprehensive parts of the whole thing. And I had many. They have a department for that. First of all, at least with Carnival, we went through Carnival, and when you're making your reservations, they transfer you over to the accessibility department.
Nice.
They go through all the pictures. Yeah. I think I was on the phone with them for 30 minutes. And then as it got closer to the cruise, I got some confirmation, and the language on it was, I think it was designed to kind of give them an out.
Okay.
Because all disabilities are so diverse and there's so many different needs. They can't guarantee you that your room's going to be accessible, right? And there was enough vagueness in it that I wanted to call in and double check. And,
you're like,
and they said, no, it'll be accessible. So I get there, and actually, it was the most accessible bathroom that I've ever used. Just the layout worked for me. I'm not saying it worked for everybody, but it was like
awesome.
It was like a wet room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it wasn't just the shower. It was the whole thing was a wet room, and then you had the shower and the way the seat was placed, and all of that worked really well. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the rest of the cruise, there's no place, because there's the only thing is they had like a 14th floor, and the elevators only went to the 12th. So I was going to accompany my nephew to the golf course, which was on the 14th.
A golf course?
Yeah. And we probably spent an hour, looking for a way and contacting people walking by from the ships, and just saying, how do you get to the 14th floor? And, they didn't, they're like, I'm not sure. I think there's an elevator that goes all the way to the 14th over there. So nobody knew really when we were on a wild goose chase, and figured out there never was, any way to get up there. So, but other than that, everything else.
It's Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Tap the wall.
Yeah. Dinner was great and all those things, and accessibility there. Yeah.
I do want to do it. I'm just scared I'm going to be sick.
Yeah. You'll enjoy it. I would say, like for me, just because my brother and his wife, they had gone on a few, and they planned this, what they call a Western Caribbean cruise, which is on the east side of Mexico. And so in a 7-day, so I think as they invited me, and I thought, okay. But after I got to thinking, I thought maybe I should have started with something a little smaller.
Yeah.
Where I didn't have to do all the flying across the country and all that. But so I would recommend do a little 3-day or something just to get a feel for it.
Well, and I'm on this side. So Florida isn't really that far.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't have to do all the moving around across the country.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Do you have a disability superpower?
Tripping? Fall? I don't know. Random gravity checks.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so unique skills.
Entertainment of others. Falling gracefully. Okay, no, that's true. Falling gracefully. I have never, knock on wood somewhere, I have never broken a bone in all my falls. Like, I somehow rubberize and just take it, and then I'm like, I'm good most of the time because I don't want to be embarrassed. But at the same time, like, I never have, like, truly injured myself in a fall.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I only did once, and that was somebody. I didn't fall on my own. I really didn't.
Then that doesn't count.
It was an assisted fall. Yeah. Did you ever have that when you were growing up, like in school, with kids would like to
help you? Help you?
I guess. Yeah. This one, I don't think fell under help. I think this fell under.
I was so small, like so tiny that like my friend Libby would just pick me all the way up. So I think a lot of times it was less because I was tiny. It was just like, let me sling you over my shoulder and take you where we're going.
Yeah.
But I definitely times where people think they're being helpful and it makes it worse. Even now, like sometimes I'll have to be like, just get out of the way because it's easier for me to navigate what's coming up than you to try to help me navigate. And then I can't grab my equilibrium.
Going back to taking the wheelchair in and out of the back of the car. I had a buddy that he told me this, and I never was able to bring myself to say it. But he would say when people would offer him help, he said, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm in a hurry."
Oh, that's a good one.
Which is actually exactly right.
Because you know how to do it, and then everybody else has to do like some math and figure it out.
You know, and when I would accept their help, they would put the wheelchair away in such a way that it was more work for me.
Oh yeah, that you can't get it out.
Yeah.
When you're home, you're like, crap.
Yeah. So
yeah. What is your superpower? I'm sure you have many.
What is my superpower?
Yeah, you just have.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying it out loud. Sorry. I don't think. I can't think of. Oh, you know what? I thought about it when I saw this. I remember when I was young.
Okay.
When I was young, and we're talking probably 20-ish or below, I could walk on my crutches without my feet touching the ground. So imagine like me walking like with stilts.
Like a gymnast, yeah.
Yeah, so I could walk all the way across the street and back without my feet touching the ground, just on my crutches. Walking with my crutches like legs, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How cool. No, I know a superpower that I think all disabled people have, and that's kindness and empathy, because we automatically, I feel like we're automatically like we have more patience for people because we have to. So I think that's kind of a superpower that a lot of people have lost because I feel like my fuse is a lot longer because or you're empathetic to other people. You want to hear their story.
Yeah. I would say I'm generally that way. Never attributed it to my disability, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. That's the philosophical version. My actual answer is falling without injury. My second thought is
yeah. But I know I had a girlfriend one time that said to me, everybody, like we were out hiking and anybody that came along the path, and at some point she said, everybody says hi to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't say hi to you? I mean, it's just me. That's the way.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for me. And so it started me to thinking about it. Why is that,
Yeah.
But and the only thing I could think of is, I actually look people in the eye and as I'm going to pass them and, give them a nod or something and, engage them somehow, just the way I've always been. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, you are warm and bubbly. Like, I remember that even as a little person.
You got the job. You don't have to butter me.
Quiet. I mean, I remember that as a little person. Like, you've always been warm and I have warm memories of hanging out with you. And that's why when I found you, I was like, oh my God. I wasn't like, oh, run. Let me just check if it's him.
That guy. Stay away.
Yeah.
So, best and worst assistive tech. What's the coolest adaptive gadget you've used, and what's the most useless one?
I can answer for you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, when
Cool.
everything's working fine, it's great. But yeah, we'll see how the new
Hey,
controller
they
goes.
earn their stripes.
Yeah.
So, well, for me, like, there's perceptual difficulties in CP. So anything that, like, I have to, like, chopsticks confuse the hell out of me. I'm not confused, but, like, I cannot get it out of my, from, like, my brain into my mobility body-wise. So anything that requires, like, some sort of adaptation that has to do with, like, fine motor skills is just a mess for me.
Gotcha.
Because I don't have really good fine motor skills.
But on chopsticks, the little things that you can put on them. So
Yes,
would
but
that help
I
you?
will be the one that somehow breaks that off in the motion of trying to use it. Like, I am that person that it's meant for little kids, and I can't even keep it together.
Gotcha. How are you with a fork?
Generally good.
Yeah.
Just look out. Sometimes. Sometimes
out.
you might wear it.
Let's see. I'm trying to think.
What about you?
Yeah, nothing jumps out at me. Right off the bat. Yeah.
I mean, electric knives are really cool. You got to be careful, but because for me with my CP, so like if I'm trying to hold a fork and saw something with a knife, my brain will start like helping. If righty's holding the fork, it will start trying the sawing motion the lefty's already doing. So it can be really confusing. It's just easier to say, hey, can you cut this? But like electric knives actually do allow me to cut things because I can do it one-handed.
I just thinking as you were saying that was as I grew up, we didn't have anything assistive around the house,
Yeah.
And so I grew up just figuring out how to do it,
Yeah.
So when these things started to show up, because they weren't anywhere really, when pool bars and grab bars started to turn up around, in an adaptive hotel room, that's what you would see. And there would be the grab bars around the bathtub. And they all just kind of got in my way because I was used to my method that I had figured out how to climb in and out of a tub.
Yeah.
So it was like, if they would just get this bar out of the way, then I could do this, so that happened a few times. But no, other than that, I'm trying to think because I know some things have been, shared with me and I thought, that is awesome. Oh, you know what? This is maybe I don't know if it's an adaptive thing, but I just figured this out literally within the last year or two. And I feel even stupid sharing it, but I wish I'd have realized this 60 years ago or something.
Okay.
We have the question that we ask about how long it takes you to put on your pants and all that.
Yeah.
Well, what would happen is just my routine over the years, I don't know how it got started as a kid, whatever, but I would put my socks on, pants, and then shoes.
Okay.
And I finally dawned on me one day, put my pants on first, then my socks, then my shoes. And the reason is because it's your socks hang up, you're getting in the pants.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have the muscle to hold my feet rigid. So they get twisted up in there and they'll get locked sideways.
A big mess.
It's a big mess. You know why it takes 7.5 minutes, but but it's been a life changer.
Right. You're like, oh my God, how did I not realize that?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, moving on. Disability and pop culture. Which movies or TV shows nailed it and which ones made you cringe?
Nailed it. Huh.
No.
Well, the movie we watched.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
What was Out of My Mind, or was that what it was called?
I think Out of My Mind, yeah. Yeah,
was probably the best one that I've seen, like in the modern times, quite a bit because it was so genuine. Like it is things because we've had so many interactions with all different people. Like, it doesn't feel like a fake version of what society thinks that disability is.
Right. And that's, so many times that's what it is. It's just, you can't put your finger on it, but it's like, okay, that's not
real.
nobody I've ever experienced, Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the common, like, who did you encyclopedia guess to try to be that?
Did you ever see the movie, There's Something About Mary?
Yes.
And again, everybody's different, but, when the guy or her friend who's on crutches and he drops his keys.
Oh, yeah.
It was hilarious for a whole bit, but I was pretty much in his situation. And,
right.
I could reach down and get a pair of keys in 2 seconds. I don't,
yeah.
I don't know what the hell was that. But then you find out later that he wasn't actually.
Yeah. Because you can't figure out.
The funny thing too was, for whatever reason, I saw that movie twice in a theater.
Oh, you really liked it.
I don't know. I don't think that was necessarily it. But just, I saw it with somebody and then I saw it with somebody else. And I can't remember so long ago.
You had to pretend like you hadn't.
But it was interesting that scene in and of itself. The first time I watched it, I don't know why, but I don't know if people were nervous to laugh at that. Nobody laughed at that.
Yeah.
And then the next time I watched it, whatever it was with that audience, they thought that was funny and everybody just laughed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, a really good movie too that I just thought about was, and this was old, What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp. That was tremendous. And that was because I think I had heard that Leonardo DiCaprio did a lot of study and went to group homes and really intensely learned, what it was to be that kind of different. And that was tremendous because
I was shocked to find out that wasn't, I don't think I'd ever seen him in anything. I just assumed he was a disabled actor.
Yeah. No, that was well.
Yeah. Did a great job. All right, here, let's see what else. Did they just say that? The wildest or weirdest things people have said to you about your disability? Oh, yikes. Might have to do a two-parter.
You go first.
Where do I start? I think I've said here, and I don't know, I've said it many, many times to people I know. If people my whole life have had questions. And you know when it's coming because they say, "Can I ask you a question?" And there's just a way about they say,
"Here we go."
I know it's coming, and I am fine. When you ask me respectfully, I'll answer anything. And just before I get into some of the not so fun, I remember as a kid because I grew up with hearing, "Hey, mommy, what's wrong with that boy?"
Yeah. And
then around probably 13 years old, I started to hear, Mommy, what's wrong with that man?
Yeah.
And as a 12, 13-year-old, did you hear that? I'm a man.
Right? You're like,
don't you forget it. I'm a man.
I've been promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Oh, man. I don't know. Probably the one I love to tell, and it's just, there was this guy gets on the elevator. I get on the elevator. He gets on the elevator. Just the two of us. And you know how it is in the elevator. Yeah. There's just this kind of awkward silence a lot of time. And so I'm not really paying attention to him. But all of a sudden, out of this silence, I hear, "What happened to you?"
Right.
Yeah. And so he broke my rule. He didn't ask politely. He didn't say, wasn't being generous there in the way he asked. So I said, I don't know. I slept like crap last night. I don't know. Then there's kind of this silence, and he goes, no, and he goes, and he does his finger up and down me. No, this. And I, you know what? I don't remember what I said after that. I don't know if it was nice.
Yeah, I would have been at a loss for my good quips.
Yeah, really, that's what you got. Yeah. But then we'd go out to and my brother tried to prepare me because he started using the chair years before I did. So as I was using it more and more, he kind of, he warned me, I guess would be the word. But he said, people are going to act differently towards you. And I'm like, no, just one disability is the same as the next, right? What's the difference between me walking on crutches and, they're both very visible, all that. He wasn't wrong. He talked to me about, the waitress coming up to the table and asking for the order. And then they turn to your dinner mates, what's he going to have?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So, yeah, sure enough. And there would be times when I would be waiting in line,
Mm-hmm.
to pay for something and get up to the counter, person after person is getting up there. I finally get to the front of the line. That person is getting their transaction done. They get done. And the gal looks right over my head and said, next to the person behind me. And, and thank goodness, there's people out there like, well, he was here.
He's
next.
Yeah.
Just, and it's like, wow, really? Yeah. People do that. And then out at the track, because we live near the Speedway in Southern California Speedway. And so we go out there, every race, and they have a very nice system of golf carts to help you get around. Right. So, man, so many times we'd get on there, and what we would do is I could transfer into the passenger seat of the golf cart, and then my buddy would take my wheelchair, get on the back seat, and just hold the wheelchair, and away we go.
Yeah.
So we do that, and one time we were sitting there, and we're not moving, and the guy driving looks over his shoulder. I could tell he wasn't talking to me. He looks over his shoulder and goes, "I don't read minds." And I look at him from the passenger seat and I go, "I can talk. You don't need to address him.
I can't read minds, and I speak.
And I speak. Ha ha. Yeah. Oh, and then coming through security, the people are always asking my buddy, can I check his backpack? And my buddy was great. He's like, hell if I know, ask him.
Yeah.
Or he would even go the extra mile and go, I don't know that asshole. Like he didn't even know me. Why are you talking to me?
You'll have to ask somebody else. Yeah.
Or we'd roll up to the cart and the guy would say, can he transfer? Can he transfer? Not like, can you transfer? Again, asking my buddy. It's like,
you're like, can you transfer what? Money?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
What would you like him to transfer? Yeah.
Like my buddy Forrest will say, I say all the time, do better.
Yeah.
Do better. All right. Here.
I mean, I think I'm similar to you, that it's always like experiences of people assuming that there's some sort of deficit. And so they just either skip you, or even, this sounds horrible, but like going to Disneyland with my sister. I love Disneyland, but like ordering food, they do the same that they do with like Forrest with you. They'll go, what would she like? Or they'll talk like I'm deaf, like so loud at my face. And I'm like, well, you don't need to talk so loud because they're not all connected.
Now,
I understand that they're trying to be inclusive, but it's like such an awkward inclusivity that I'm like, okay.
So if we were to give people advice here, what would it be? Would it be to err on the side of caution? To ask me if I can transfer, or ask you
I think I would
what you want.
Start
and then
with the person in front of you. And then if you're not getting a response, or you need additional information, then
go from there. Right?
Reach out. Start with the one.
Yeah.
that you need the information from. And if they don't answer you, there's probably a reason they're not answering.
Yeah.
And then,
or probably somebody would have already started to order for you when they were ordering, if that was necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had an experience the other day, and it just popped into my head, because when I go to a restaurant, I ask for a table for, our party. And I'm always kind of surprised that, the hostess, let's say host or hostess, will take us to the table, and there are some that will remove the chair.
Yeah.
And then there are some that don't, and you have to ask them, or you start moving and, let them figure out where to put it, whatever. But I had a gal the other day, and I got the feeling it was part of her training and really part of her trying to be sensitive. She, she kind of put her hand on the chair. Would you like me to move this?
Yeah.
To let me decide whether, she like she wasn't going to assume that I needed it moved. Maybe I was going to transfer into the chair, whatever. Yeah. So she asked, and just the way she delivered it didn't seem condescending or anything.
Yeah. She was like,
never had that before.
Help?
Yeah.
That's nice. Shout out. Good girl, whoever you are.
Good one. Yeah.
Good one, girl.
Well, I guess we kind of already went through these travel tales, the accessible and the ridiculous. I think we covered that. Dream adaptive vehicles. If money were no object, what would your ultimate accessible ride be?
Oh, shoot. If money were no object,
Yeah.
I don't even care. It would just be a car that could drive me where I needed to go. Like, because I can't drive, it would be a fully autonomous vehicle that I just say, take me here.
Or maybe you
And
could
they
have a
could go
driver.
long distances.
Maybe you could have a driver.
Well, then I need to win the lottery. I mean,
Well,
there's
money's no
anyway.
object here in our scenario.
Okay. Well, yes. Then I prefer a Jeeps. Who can
With a
say,
driver?
Is it too warm back there? Is it too cold back there?
yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody tall, dark, and handsome.
Sure. I'll take it.
Very good.
Somebody who says there's snacks next to you and bubbly and all those things, and will be willing to drive cross country and stop wherever I say. Money's no object. So
You know,
Yeah.
I will tell you that, you know, part of the resistance to go to an accessible vehicle, because I figured it would be a van, is it's a
Yeah.
van.
yeah.
You know, so even though I had this little Hyundai SUV, you know, that I knew that was cooler than a van, you know. So yes, I'm that shallow, you know. I want to keep that little bit of a cool factor.
Okay, so I know you really like cars. So if money were no object for you and you could adapt something that was usable to you, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, I mean, way out there, you know, would be a Ferrari or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyday use is it would just have the ease
Yeah.
of accessibility. Like, you know, there was, when I was first starting to look, there was an Explorer that they had modified. So when you saw it, it just looked like an Explorer.
Okay.
But they had modified it to where the passenger side door was a slider, like a van.
Cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
So it would just open up, ramp would come out, boom, you can move in to
That's
the
amazing.
seat. Yeah.
Like some of those new trucks that they're making that the doors open kind of like a DeLorean, and then
Mhm.
it like lowers a ramp and then you get
Yeah.
put up in there.
There's one I saw the other day. It was a pickup truck, and it like you say, it was like a gull wing door that opened. I
Yeah.
think it went up out of the way, and then there was actually a seat
Okay.
that came from the driver position on a
Oh, wow.
hydraulic, and boom, moved right and came down to the ground, so you could transfer into that seat. Now, the only issue I saw with it, now you've transferred into that seat, and that seat's going to lift you into the driver position.
Right into the sky.
What do you do with your wheelchair? Who's going to move that
Yeah.
to where you can get it?
It almost needs like a winch that
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
clip your wheelchair in, and then once you're in, like you press the button and it puts it in the
Mhm.
what do you call it? Tailgate area.
Yeah. And I did see that on Instagram one time.
Ow.
I did see, it was on a little SUV like mine.
Yeah.
And it was this, as you can imagine, and I imagine there might have been a lot of maintenance issues with it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine with all the articulating it had to do to take, you could transfer into the car, and then, you'd hook it to your wheelchair, and then
Yeah.
it would turn around like a transformer and put it in
Yeah.
the back of the SUV, and then the door.
Yeah, so you
door
need a
would
lot
close.
of grease points on that
Yeah,
bad boy.
yeah, exactly. But it was something that somebody saw, posted, didn't know the manufacturer, whether there was a manufacturer. It might have been something that some crazy, wild engineering guy did in his
Yeah.
garage, for all I know.
Yeah.
But I never could find that because it gets a
Well,
little
then.
pricey. You know how it is.
Yeah.
With those
Money's
kind
no
of
object
vehicles.
in this one. I mean, honestly, I don't think I'd want a car. I just want a whole fleet. Like I want the plane that will take me to all the places I want to see.
I'm looking at the clock. Is it 1:52?
Yeah, it is.
When we're recording this, by the way. Wow, this went really fast. I thought we would go fairly short, but went fast for a while. Let's wrap up with this. Strangest disability perks. Ever gotten a free
Strangest.
upgrade, skipped a line, or had a funny VIP moment?
Well, I used to like at Disneyland when we got to go to the front of the line. Now
Yeah.
Disney doesn't do that anymore. You get a fast pass time. But that used to be my dad and I used to-
hang on a second. This just in. You got a hot take there I hadn't heard of. So even on the old rides where you used to go in the exit,
Yeah.
you don't do that anymore. You get a pass.
No.
Oh,
You get a fast pass time and you
Yeah.
come back and do the old way in. just like that. But basically, somebody probably was like, we're going to sue Disney for making us.
Well, you know, I have a theory as to why they did that.
Okay.
Because I can remember for years going to, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I was going to say Pirates. Yeah.
Was it Pirates? Yeah. Pirates of the Caribbean.
And Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, where you go in the back and then there's like a dock there and you go, you get on the boat from the other side. Right? Yeah. So when I first was going in there for a long time, might be me and one or two other people.
Yeah.
The last time I went, and this has been a few years ago now, that whole dock was full of people.
Yeah.
Packed. So I think there might have been, just a guess, but there might have been some people that just rented a wheelchair and, you know, that was their way of skipping the line. Can't imagine anybody doing anything like that. This is just made up. But, yeah.
Yeah. No, I would guess it's abuse of the circumstance, which is sad because we see that happen all over the world.
Yeah. Go.
In so many things, right? Like it's a common thing nowadays.
Yeah. You know, the one I was going to mention on this one was just when I was a kid, young, you know, 7, 8, 9, you know, years old. Every once in a while, I mean, in my whole life, it maybe it's happened 3 or 4 times, you know, 5 times maybe when I was a kid, and it usually was an old person, and they'd hand you 25 cents, you know, they'd hand you a quarter, they'd hand you 35 cents, something like that. Maybe once I might have gotten a dollar bill. And I, you know, as a kid, it's like, okay, you know, I was old enough to know what money was.
Yeah, I got money.
And what it could buy, you know, on my own. And, you know, because I was, you know, I am old. So when I was a kid, when you get 25 cents when I was a kid, you could go to the store and get a bundle of stuff. There was penny candies when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
You could get 25 candies.
Yeah. But man, I made sure that my mom didn't find out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she was having
now we got to
none of
eat
that.
these until we're sick. Yeah.
Yeah. She was all about the dignity and all of that. So all I cared about was I got 25 cents.
Yeah, you're like, who cares? Yeah. Well, and you're not like, I think it's when you're older that you correlate that treatment was because of that. But when you're young, you're just like, bam, I got a goodie.
And I think in my young mind, I mean, I knew it was because of that, but I'm like, there was a little bit of a conflict going on in my mind too, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't seem right. You know, my able-bodied brother and sister weren't getting this, you know, so I'm getting something, and I lived my whole life as, you know, just not taking advantage of the situation. Yeah. You know, but dang it, it's 25 cents. I got to take this. Don't tell mom.
I mean, I think as many hardships as there are in life, we also get a lot of opportunity, like being the poster child.
Yeah.
When I met you and stuff, I got to do a lot of things and experience a lot of things that it's not like they walked up to my sister and said, hey, want to do this?
Yeah.
So I think that there are advantages and disadvantages even, but at that little, I didn't know. I didn't know the difference, but now I'm like, oh. Or, you know, when people will say, oh, you've lived a really tremendous life, like the experiences I've had, well, I can't say if it was because of my disability or because merit. Like, when does it switch?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's
it's interesting. Yeah, I was just talking about this with somebody, you know, my entire work career, you know, especially the latter part of it, when a lot of this stuff comes up, you know, you wonder, am I just checking a box somewhere with HR? You know, I mean, I don't think so. I feel like I carried my weight. Like I told this person, it didn't matter when I got fired.
Right.
The times that I got fired, you know, they didn't say, well, no, we got to save him because he's cute.
Because he checks our box.
Yeah, he checks our box. All right. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. That went better than I thought it would.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, not that I thought it would crash and burn or anything, you know, but
yeah, no,
fun.
it's fun. It's just like rando questions.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back just to kind of wrap things up and let you know what's coming up next week. And we've got to check in with somebody. They're probably patiently waiting by their phone. Remember when we tried to call Rochelle last week?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, she had an issue with her phone. You know those times when you have to restart your phone because it's just lost its mind?
Yeah.
Well, it just happened to be at the time when we were trying to get a hold of her. So stand by. We'll be back to catch up with Rochelle and kind of wrap things up right after this.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I had a huge bruise from my mom's 9mm. It was a hollow point, and it went in diagonal up at an angle from just above my right ear to about the left side of my top of my head.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
Wheels spin, hustle on the go. White came leading through the glow. Signing stories as we grow. Same mountains, just a different show. Life like everyone you see. Building dreams just like a tree. Falling down and getting free. Stronger hearts we all can be. Tech that talks and shows the way. Navigating every day. Adapting games we love to play. Turning struggles into play. Life like everyone you see.
Well, we hope we entertained you with our random ramblings, and we always love mail. So if you have a story, even if you're able or differently abled, we'd love to hear about funny superpowers you have or weird, awkward moments you've had with other people.
I would really love that. Yes, please. More live at walkandrolllive.com. That would be awesome to hear from you. I'm sure there's some great stories. All right. What we attempted last week was calling Rochelle and just didn't work out. And I said we'd be about 45 minutes after the hour. We're a little later than that, so let's just see what we get here. We got a nice ring.
Hello.
Is this Rochelle?
It is.
Rochelle Weissman?
Yes. Hello.
How you doing? It's Doug and Addie
Hi.
Hi.
from Walk and Roll
Hi.
Live.
Nice to meet you, Abby.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry,
Wow,
we're
that's
motor
amazing.
mouths.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me back on. That's
Yeah,
great.
we just kind of have this new thing where we want to catch up with our past guests and see how things are going and all of that. What's new with you?
Well, actually, just in terms of work, I've been working. I'm a customer satisfaction rep where I've been conducting surveys for financial institutions, and that job is out of Denver, Colorado. It's remote, so I've been working from home, and it's kind of like I'm in a call center setting. What it is I wear a headset, and I'm able to hear the caller on one ear. And Doug, I don't know if you remember, I am visually impaired, so I use a program called Oz, which is a screen reader, and I'm able to hear that in my other ear. So then I can maneuver just like if anybody were sighted would be able to see it. So it's definitely been a good experience for sure.
So did that take some getting used to? You know what? And real quick, Rochelle, before you answer that, I probably should have mentioned that. Rochelle was on. How long ago do you think? 8 months, 9 months ago, something like that.
It was actually June. Yeah, it was actually over 7 months ago. It was on June 4th.
Gotcha. Well, she knows the date. Nice. So that'll make it easy for somebody to go back and find your episode and get to know the full Rochelle story. But, we wanted to catch up. And she is sight impaired, but lives an active life. She's a singer. She's working and doing all the things. So this device that you use now, did that take some getting used to? I mean, I can't imagine I'm listening to somebody in one ear, and the other ear I'm getting some other instructions. That must take some getting used to.
It did. I mean, I got to admit it was hard at first, but I kind of just taught myself as I went along. I've actually been working there for almost 3 years, and I just recently hit my 1,000th survey a few days ago. So I'm actually now over 1,000 surveys since I've started, and it's not easy. It's kind of like people sometimes think I'm a telemarketer, or they may think it's a scam. But other people, it's real easy for them to be convinced to do the survey. And there's other people that just say no thank you or hang up. So it's definitely challenging, but it's definitely giving me some good experience for sure.
How about your singing? Awesome. Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, it's actually good. I've recently, this is something I forgot to mention last time. I play piano by ear. I have perfect pitch. So yeah, so I'm actually able to take a cover from the radio and compose it on the piano. I can just hear the chords and just play the song, like if I'm reading the music. So I'm actually working on some stuff right now. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Earlier, Doug and I were talking about disability superpowers. That was one of the things we discussed. I was like, see, this is her superpower. She can hear it and make it so.
That's amazing. Yeah, so recently I've been working on some new covers lately, and I'm going to be uploading them to my social media. This is also something I forgot to mention last time. For anybody who wants to find me or follow me, I'm on Instagram at Musical Rochelle, and Twitter is also at Musical Rochelle. My YouTube is also at Musical Rochelle, except on YouTube it's capital M and then capital R. And Musical is Musical. Rochelle is Rochelle.
Very nice. Well, it sounds like you're keeping busy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to, at least, for sure.
That's all we can do. Right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for taking out some time and joining us for a little update on what you're doing on the show. Thank you so much. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you so much. You as well. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I appreciate being back on. It's an honor.
Oh, our pleasure. All right. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.
You as well. Thank you so much.
And there you go. Rachel Weissman from June 4th, if you want to check out the entire episode. Yeah, fascinating young lady. And then for us, we talked a little bit about the Inland Empire Disability Collaborative at the beginning of the show. I was kind of surprised I didn't have it on the resource page, but it's on there now if you want to learn anything about what they do. And you can also find out about all the people that are in the collaborative and the different services that they offer. So check that out. Anything else coming up for you that you want to scream about?
Hopefully continued good weather. Let's speak it into existence.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, and like I said, I think last week, just, the Abilities Expo is coming up, so you can check that out on our website. And Triumph has some things coming up. SoCal Adaptive Sports has some events coming up on things always. Rolling Start has support groups and movie nights and game nights, possibilities. All are having things. And the other one is Angel City Sports, trying to get them on to talk about their big adaptive sports fair. It's coming up, I think, the end of February. So I was trying to get I guess it'd be founder, CEO, whatever he is of that organization on to tell us all about that too. So we'll look forward to that. Anything else? That's it? All right.
Not that I know of. That's it for us today.
At this point, I have no idea what we're doing next week, but we've got a week to figure it out.
Right?
Yeah.
We got this. We got this.
Good to see you, Addie. Enjoy the sunshine.
To see you too.
All right.
Thank you. I'm doing it.
Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, with Addie Rich from the Agar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories. Life Limitless.
Walk and roll live.